Here's what has been shared in NBA. I haven't released anything to subscribers, but this is definitely sharp stuff. 501 under 222 all the way to 220 Utah Charlotte. 503 Clippers minus the 1.5 and minus the 2. Oklahoma City laying the 13.5, laying the 14. Brooklyn taking Brooklyn at plus 11, 10.5 and plus 10. And finally, Houston Lakers under 225. Major League Baseball. 3 legit moves, multiple groups. 903 over 8 up to minus 125. Mets, Miami. 919 under 8.5. Washington, Toronto, also good to minus 125. And then 922 St. Louis, minus 135 and 140. A couple more. 906 Dodgers, minus 190. Don't be misled by the misconception that wise guys don't lay favorites in the Major League Baseball. Nothing could be further from the truth. They'll lay a minus 250 if they think the true line should be minus 310. Do that all single day. But most recreational bettors shouldn't be betting chalk unless they have a lot of conviction, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. If your average closing line's minus 200, you got to cash 2 out of 3 tickets just to break even.
Yeah.
So that means you got to be hitting at a 75% win percentage. That's why we urge most recreational bettors to not attack these big favorites, because they could put you behind very easily. Finally, another big favorite, 918 Tampa Bay, minus 170, 180. And 2 quick totals, 907 under 8 Minnesota White Sox, under 8.5 and 8 San Francisco and Houston. All sharp stuff in Major League Baseball. That's what they're attacking more than anything else.
Right.
Up until the NBA playoffs, rest assured, that's where the money is to be made. And these added college basketball games, like you said, that's difficult to quantify because there's a lot more factors that we have to fill in. And whenever that's the case, there's always that chance that you have that nugget that's not factored into the line.
Right.
And you could get an edge. I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah, Utah has an interim coach since their coach was fired about a month ago. And they also lost 2 starters again to the portal. Like I said, Butler, on the other side, Butler has had really a terrible season. We're used to a lot better season from Butler. 14 and 19, I believe they are on the season. They have a good head coach, though, who's been there a while. And more importantly, it's the same team. So should be a good game. It should be great competition, actually, here. The line 2, 156.5. You have to remember, you don't have to have a bet on every team just because they're on TV. And we have a little break here for the Final Four. But, hey, we try to give you an insight of what's going on with all the games on the odd days that the big tournament's not here. Yeah, GW and Boise State go head-to-head here. They have their coaches. Imagine you have to talk like this now. They have their regular coaches. They have their full rosters from the season. Boise doesn't shoot it too great. They're going to need to control the boards a little bit to win this one. So this is, trust me, this, even though the spread is 8.5 here, 410 money line. Oh, by the way, guys, something I've been wanting to talk about. If you're betting an underdog, let's say you're betting George Washington. I'm not saying I'm betting them, but if I was to bet them, I'm going to find the best line. And guess what? Let's say you bet $100 on the game. You want to put 10 grocery dollars, $10 on the money line. Take in the 315 or search around for the best line. Real important, especially here in this town. You could find some great money lines in this town, the underdogs, because the public and the locals love to bet the favorite. So I just want people to say, take that bet and take 10% of it and throw it on the money line too, if you're betting these underdogs. This might be a better game than people think, though, here. So there's a little brush up there on this one. Well, first, let me go to that first 5 segment you talked about. Yes, I'm a first 5 guy. As you guys probably know already, I've had a couple selections first 5. So far, so good, unbeaten. But I have another one today. I do a lot of first 5s compared to regular game. I will do regular game also, but I enjoy the first 5s because it's a true line, just like the first half of a game, of a college basketball game. It's a true pitcher versus pitcher. You can get a good handicap. You don't have to put the middle relievers in the bullpen into it. I love baseball. It's what I grew up with. Going to games in the Bronx and Shea Stadium over the Mets. That was my life when I was a kid, baseball and boxing. So I actually enjoy this time of the year. When it comes to baseball, and believe it or not, I know people think baseball's boring. They think golf's boring. I love watching day 4 of an event. You got giant tournaments coming up, the Masters. This is a great time of the year for me. Going to talk about this particular game, Dodgers, like you said, 5-0. Atlanta, 0-4. LA is excited to see how this Glass now is going to look on the mound after he was shut down last August. He had some big elbow issues last year, I believe it was. Big number on this one. Like you said, the Dodgers are like 205, total of 8. You're not going to catch me laying any money. Probably the entire season, I will not be betting the Dodgers ever. Even though they're great, I understand they're 105 wins. In order to bet the Dodgers, you're going to be paying a tax every time in the form of laying extra juice on the Dodgers this year. Because guess what? The bookmakers know which way you're betting to. So I probably won't be betting the Dodgers this year. I've heard on multiple shows, so many shows, oh, just bet the Dodgers run line every game. Lay 1.5 runs. Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, it's amazing some of the people, just the things they say, because they have nothing else to say real. They may not bet their own money. They may not even know what it is to get involved with something like this. Bet every game blindly, laying a 1.5. Listen, like I said, I probably won't be betting the Dodgers at all this year. And not that they're not great, not that they're not going to win 100 games, but I just don't want to get caught up in a team that I'm laying 2-1. Listen, they're still going to lose 50 games, maybe 60. So I'm not going to be laying those big favorites. It's not the way I will lay a favorite. I will lay it more than the past. I was schooled in this industry of baseball betting. I'm betting 70, 80% dogs. I'm 50-50 now. I have no problem laying up to like $1.30, $1.40. The rare occasion I'll lay a little bit more.
So the big reason I like the Crown and some of these lesser tournaments is I really feel like being tuned in to the sport matters, right? Like you need to know motivation, who's going to play, all of that stuff. Like you can assume in the NCAA tournament, everyone's going to give their best effort. But in a tournament like this, you really kind of need to know what's going on with each team. Now, I do think some of the roster stuff is probably baked into the number here. Arizona State's going to be down a whole bunch of guys. BJ Freeman left the team back in February. Joseph Sanon's now on St. John's. He's not going to play. Quintins is likely not going to play either. They're big. I'm hearing they could have maybe 7 players for this game, maybe 8. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to show up and give an effort. But I do think they might have a hard time against Nebraska knowing sort of who they're going to miss. So I think Arizona State's going to be very jump shot reliant here. Nebraska does a really good job at denying the rim. And when you take guys like Sanon, who can get to the rim out, Quintins is kind of the main big. I do think this turns into Arizona State just launching up a lot of tough shots. Not necessarily what you want, in my opinion, against Nebraska. On the other side, you probably without Raleigh Worcester for Nebraska, but other than that, they seem to have everyone. And from what I can kind of tell, there's some upperclassmen on this roster. It feels like they might take this a little bit more seriously than maybe the average team in this tournament. So I didn't see a ton of line value here, Prez, at 5.5. I do think some of this stuff is priced in, but I won't really be surprised if Nebraska kind of wins this easily. Maybe you can, use their money line with something if you're looking for a money line piece, but I would lean toward Nebraska. I don't think this one's going to make my card, but certainly a lean toward Nebraska just having too much for the Sun Devils here. You have to handicap these with the info that and try to make a number. So we know Thomas Sorber is not going to play for Georgetown. He hasn't been with the team. He hasn't played since mid-February. We know he's out. On the Washington State side, it looks like Nate Calmace and one of the Isaiah Watts, the 2 guards, are going to be out for Washington State. So I made the number 3.5 with those things sort of baked in. The big key here to this handicap is going to be Micah Peavy on the Georgetown side, whether he's going to play or not. I don't think anyone truly knows, Prez, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone truly knows if he's playing tonight or not. Right. But I will go as far as to say that my 3.5 number has him in. So, I'm willing to play Washington State at 3.5 with him in. If he doesn't play, that's just a huge bonus to me. And I think it would be really bad for Georgetown if he's out. Pretty much anytime Georgetown hasn't had Sorber this year, they've looked like a pretty bottom sort of power conference team. You take Sorber and Peavy out, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to win this game. Now, on the Washington State side, the 2 guards that they're missing are not super, yes, they both are double-digit scorers, but they're not vital to what Washington State wants to do offensively. Washington State runs their offense through their bigs. And the thing is, they're a good 3-point shooting team. Believe it or not, it's the bigs that shoot the threes better. These are Calmace and Watts. Neither are great 3-point shooting team or 3-point shooters. So you're going to have a couple freshman guards back there. playing extended minutes, but their job is going to be to get the ball to the bigs, run their offense as they would. So I don't think that this hurts Washington State a ton. This is a team, Prez, 12th nationally in field goal percentage, 49.1% from the field. They play through their bigs. They want to get a lot toward the rim. I think it's going to be kind of business as usual here for Washington State. Yes, they're still down a couple players, but not like it's going to be for Georgetown. If they're without Peavy, I think they really struggle. And with him, I don't know that they should be favored. So I took 3.5 here, Washington State, 3% play. And I guess we'll see, how the day goes. I might bump this up to 4 if the number's still there.
Must win doesn't mean will win as far as the team that needs to make the playoffs. And you know what? Revenge doesn't always mean you're going to get it. And I think that that's how I feel about this particular situation. I think the Devils sweep the 2-game set here. I think the Devils win both of them. And to me, this is a rare regulation play for me. I locked in at minus 105. In March, Minnesota, they were the 4th worst team in expected goals for. They struggled consistently to create offense. They had a couple good games in a row with 3 or 4 goals. Then all of a sudden they go right back to it again with 1 or 2 goals per game. This Devils team was hurting for a while without Jack Hughes, but they've really rallied around this new forward group they have to deal with. They've gathered chemistry now, and I feel like there's so much onus been put on these rapid revenge spots. And just don't get me wrong, there's certain situations where I want to look at it, but this one is not one of them. And like you said, money coming in on the favorite here in this one. Look at the team total, wasn't interested. Look at the team total under, wasn't interested. I think to me the best way to go here is the regulation side here on the New Jersey Devils. I don't trust the offense for Minnesota. They're far too top heavy right now. If you want to bet on some props tonight, I know you said you had Andy on your show and you're going to be having him on, but Michkov and some of these younger guys on the Flyers, Tortorella, he's, I think overall deep in his heart, he does seem like a nice guy, but we both know, Prez, he's a hard ass coach, right? And that's the kind of coach that maybe some of these younger guys can't relate to as much and struggle with. Well, since Tortorella got fired, Michkov has 17 shot attempts and 10 shots on goal. I mean, this guy is just playing with house money now. He's playing a lot more free. Philadelphia is playing a hell of a lot more free, albeit they did play a Montreal team that was struggling defensively. Then they got to play Buffalo, but still putting up 2 huge numbers in their next 2 games after firing their coach. And, of course, Nashville, they have been up and down offensively, of course. I mean, a lot more downs than ups, coming off a game with just 1 goal against Vegas. But let's be real here. This Philadelphia team, they've been giving up at least 4 goals, and I think 5 of their last 6 games, their offense has gotten better. Their defense isn't getting any better. It's just their offense that's improved. So when you look at Nashville going off that loss against Vegas, what better team to bounce back and put some goals on the board against than Philadelphia? Well, look, I have to give credit to Calgary, Prez, because they've been able to find a way to get the job done, whether it was on the road against the New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils, these comeback victories, or just even getting a point in the overtime losses against some of these teams. But when it ultimately comes down to it, you don't want to face this Avalanche team off a loss like they are. And it might not seem like a bad loss, like, oh, they only lost by 1 against St. Louis. But when they only put up 1 goal, it's like they lost by 10. It's like an insult to the franchise when Colorado scores just 1 goal. Usually their power play scores 2 goals a night. This Colorado team has owned Calgary. They have long-term owned Calgary. But one thing I'm going to say is that Calgary is actually one of the best third-period teams in the league. They've been a really good comeback team.
Yeah.
The best way to approach this game, first period, minus a half goal, plus 114. I don't like to play these too often because, it is tough to win a period, especially the opening frame of the game. But Colorado will not be happy about their start and their whole game against St. Louis overall. If Calgary does well in this game, it'll be later on in the games. I think Colorado wins the first period.